Yeah, well, whilst the summer is still here, hanging on, we thought that we'd show you a film that we took in 1998 of a week we had in Majorca. Actually, it was filmed over 2 separate visits, but the main one was around a cave called Cancion, on the west side of the island, well away from the commercial beers and beer parlours and I don't know what else, crowded beaches and so on. So it's really like visiting a different country when you get to the other side. It's wooded and very, very pretty countryside indeed. However, to find these caves it was quite an effort in itself. We had a book, I can't remember who wrote it now, but who details where these caves can be found. But even so, when you must get a pinpoint accuracy grid point for where they are, it's still difficult to find them because the scenery looks all the same in the limestone. However, we did find Cancion after some difficulty, and which is, I think it was a terrific walk to get there in the midday sun. It was quite an adventure in itself just getting there. So have a look underground in Majorca, and then if you haven't already been there, I do recommend it as a holiday with a difference. And hope you enjoy it anyway. Thanks.
Think of Majorca as a holiday destination and what springs to mind? Lots of noisy fun in the hotel, a bar on nearly every street corner selling booze round the clock, and lager at giveaway prices. There's always plenty to do on the crowded beaches, and if you fancy a bit of exercise, you can always push out a pedalo.
You just sit there and hold.
And if it's pedalling of a different kind you want and you're short of souvenirs, join the crowds at Inca Market. But there's much more to Majorca than this, for in the mountains you can see beyond the bay lies a completely different world. It's there that many of the island's 3,000 extraordinary caves are to be found. You're about to see Majorca from an entirely different viewpoint, from deep beneath the earth. It's a caver's view. Few people realise just how different Majorca is once you leave the coastal towns and resorts. The countryside in which many of the caves are found is still completely unspoilt, and once you get up in the mountains, Majorca can look almost alpine. Caves can only form in limestone of a certain type, and happily the whole island is formed of the right kind. The limestone is also good for building roads to get to the caves. This one's a bit like a roller coaster. You can see how easily the rock can be eroded, and many wonderful gorges have been carved out as rivers have found their way down to the sea. Many native Majorcans still make a living from the sea, and still more are thankful for the quality and abundance of caves, which provide them with an income as guides.
Good morning, welcome to the caves of Campanet. A little information before starting the tour. The cave was beginning to form about 40 million years ago, but was found in 1945 by a shepherd from Campanet. Can you see a figure like a woman with a baby? Can you see her at the back there? Yes? Brilliant. You can see it. Can you see it? You can see it. Everybody can see it.
Even the clergy have gone underground in Majorca. The cool and shade appear to outweigh the disadvantage of moving closer to the devil. The island's attractions above ground can be enjoyed with little difficulty. Seeking attractions underground requires a different approach. Join us as we prepare for a holiday with a difference.
Boiler suit, warbird pants, knee pads, gloves, carabiners. Well, preparations for a caving holiday can appear almost military at times, and we've had more than our fair share of attention from customs in the past. Most of our baggage allowance goes on this stuff here, but it'll all be needed when we arrive there. Well, Majorca, although it's the biggest island in the Balearics, is still only 50 miles from one side to the other. The capital and airport are down here at Palma, and the best of the Majorcan scenery is along the northwest coast in the mountain ranges known locally as Sierras. Many of the best caves are up here in the Sierra de San Vicente. Our base is nearby, here in Alcudia. A rope and a ladder, tackle sack. Oh.
I'm David Webb, and together with my son Andrew, I'm returning to Majorca to meet up with a group of cavers and their families. We're all from a club based in Derbyshire and have caved together for many years. Andrew looks back to our first caving holiday on the island.
On the coach from the airport, my thoughts returned to the brilliant caving we did 3 years ago. We were lucky then to choose caves that were varied in character, each spectacular in its own way. The first of these, called Calpeso, was hidden on a rugged hillside near Porto Palenza. The small entrance hole, like so many of the Majorcan caves, can take hours to locate, as there's no obvious path or stream to guide you. But once inside, your world's transformed, just like Alice through the looking glass. We travel through huge silent chambers full of fantastic formations. To top that, it was warm and dry as well. Another amazing cave overlooked the sea, but could only be reached by a steep exposed climb. It's called Peñarrocha, and from the inside it's like looking out of a giant's mouth. Huge fluted columns give an unreal backdrop to a 100-foot abseil from the chamber above. It's not easily damaged, but you've got to be careful. Our third and final trip of 93 was to the popular cave of Campana, somewhere on the right. A sporting climb up to the entrance was followed by a steep climb down, once inside the cave. We descended to a depth of nearly 600 feet using special rope techniques on the steepest parts. The vast echoing chambers are beyond description. It's as if the whole mountain's hollowed out. That was then, and this is now, and tomorrow starts another week of excellent caving. Our first trip is to Cancion with exciting new discoveries and a colony of bats. What more could you ask for, eh?
We've come to Porto Palenza, near Alcudia, for our first planning meeting. Andrew and Chris studied directions to Cancion. Majorca's road maps aren't nearly as precise as ours, but were helped by instructions from cavers who've been before. Paul on the left has been caving since he was old enough to walk, and Dave, next to him, has a particular interest in the bat colony. Both Dave and his wife Jo are members of the Bat Conservation Trust, but opportunities for observing large colonies are becoming scarce in the UK.
This could be it then.
We're relieved to see a sign on the gatepost with the name of the estate that lends its name to the cave. Translated, Cancion means the house of the kingdom of heaven. It may well have been an ancient Jewish settlement. Colin is the sixth but camera-shy member of our group. He watches while a small party goes off in search of the landowner.
It's a long way to go.
Yes, it's a long way, yeah.
Long way, yeah.
Long, yeah.
Well, this isn't good news for Lindsay, who's only got little legs. She's Chris's daughter, though, and as keen as he is to see the cave.
There are a road, but it's this and then, you see,
Could we get this way?
so.
Better this way.
Yeah.
Right, lovely.
Pretty clear.
Show us.
It's just here, huh?
There's a bit else up there.
Yeah. Just a little hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the cave.
Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
cave.
the
Yeah,
cave.
we're
Huh?
Yeah.
seeing
Have you
it.
been in it? Have you been in it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Good.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
It's nice, but it's very nice, but it's a long,
Oh,
long way.
We're very
Well,
hard.
we're-
Okay,
we're-
it's very
we're-
hard.
we're
No problem.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good, yeah. Thank you.
1 hour to get there.
1
1
hour
hour.
and a half.
Right, let's get changed. Let's go. Go for it. Well, in the right place. A1.
We're not lost already, are we?
Yeah, there's a track that goes up there.
Well, despite all the help we've had, there's a confusing junction, and we don't seem to be having much luck interpreting the sketch map of the area, which is a bit vague. In the end, we decide to follow the most obvious track.
There's 2 tracks on the map, isn't it? This is going to be first prize. Okay. That city's up there.
The written description says the entrance is near a prominent clump of trees. That could be it over there.
Nice day, isn't it? Too hot. Bit of these steep hills. Halfway there, not much further to go.
Well, the carefully orchestrated pointing is to the track, now thankfully far below us.
Wait for us oldies.
The cairn was the sign for us to leave the track and force our way through thick, spiky undergrowth for the last few metres to the cave.
Watch it! Watch it!
Ah,
You found it, though.
I found it, yes, thank you, yeah. It's taken a while though.
An hour.
Well, good half hour.
Oh dear.
Well, we changed into lightweight caving gear as it's very hot inside with nearly 100% humidity. We're just about to enter the cave of Can Sion, which I'm told is very, very, very pretty. It's really essentially just one long cave, one long chamber, but the lower reaches are extremely well decorated, and we hope to show you some of that on the film. Massing Caving Group here in force. Ages ranging from 11 to 61. I'm not saying who's 61 and who's... We think we know who's 11.
Who might be 61?
Who might be 61. The rest have gone on ahead in there, and we're about to follow them. The main chamber of the cave isn't very far in, but because of its size, inexperienced cavers found it difficult to find a way out. Candles are there to help if needed.
Wow, this is big. Look at that.
Once our eyes had become accustomed to the dark, the first thing we noticed, apart from the sheer size, was the presence of several bats flitting around the columns.
Can you go to that ridge a bit higher up? Look down. Right, scared him off. All gone now.
Unfortunately, our video lights scared them off, but Lindsay thought she'd noticed where they'd gone. Well, here was the evidence that Dave, if not Lindsay, had hoped for.
We've walked into this upper chamber and we've disturbed quite a few bats. And here beside Lindsay is a big pile of bat poo. And it's actually seething and writhing in little creatures that live on the bat guano.
One just climb at Lindsay's leg.
And hopefully in a few moments the camera's going to zoom in close and hopefully maybe able to see a few.
We can see little tiny flies moving about the surface, living on this pile of guano that Dave just described. Well, Dave scans the roof for other signs of a large colony.
They're dead. Wakey. Got pale tummies, you see. You could see the tummies.
What sort are they? Well, he concluded that this solitary specimen wasn't well.
The black marks that you can see on the cave roof are where the bats roost, and the black that he's turned the camera away from now is oil off the fur. That's all the bats roost together to keep warm.
Why have they got oil on the fur?
We've all got oil on the skin, haven't we? Cats. I mean, like a cat when it rubs itself on a door.
Well, it was disappointing not to have seen more of the bats, but there was a lot more cave to discover. Unusually, this cave was formed not by the action of water, but by violent earth movements. The space was later filled with stalagmites and stalactites. Some have been split in two by further earth movements, probably many thousands of years ago. Onwards and deeper into the hillside we travelled, mostly down dip, but occasionally encountering short climbs. Some easier than others.
I think that's the way it was coming, isn't it? Bottom of that big slope. Easy under here. Yeah. Come this way, Paul.
Well, we hoped we were travelling in a direction that would eventually lead us to the fabled lower series with all its fine decorations. This was pretty enough, but we're looking for a tiny hole said to be the gateway to the best bits. We've found it, but it looks worryingly small.
Looks a bit tight, doesn't it?
It's a bit tight, but not too bad.
Be careful you don't slip when you come down, it's a bit slippy.
Well, it was decided that Lindsay would be the best choice for the first through the squeeze. No problems at all. But the hole seems to have shrunk a bit when it was Dad's turn.
We're going through the right bit, Dave.
Stop.
Oh, there we go. We're in. We're through. Next one. Drop it, yeah, that's it. Open as well. Stick it up behind in the same place. Dave, you're playing. Get your bottom down to your right.
Oh, my britches!
I'll get the hint.
Well, it was a bit of a struggle, but we all eventually got through. Beyond was bigger and more vertical, and a handline came in useful for the slippery slope.
Find the roof.
Pretty nice over
Yeah,
there.
really.
Got a big chamber over here with loads of cells in.
Everywhere down here seems to be much more delicate. This fragile straw is unusual in that it's growing up from the floor instead of down from the roof.
Orgasmic.
This is an absolutely incredible place. Not visited by too many people, I wouldn't imagine. Although even the few that have been seem to have managed to spoil the place just a little bit. However, it's a marvellous spot. Helictites, straws, flowstone, you can see at the back of me here. Absolutely wonderful formations. The whole of the surface of this area around here is covered in some sort of a pretty ochre coloured deposit of some kind. It's quite firm, but it makes the whole place feel soft and welcoming in a way. The atmosphere is beautiful. We've been here now for probably an hour just filming and taking pictures, and we're all, most of us anyway, still quite warm. No freezing cold like it would have been in the UK. We're going to go out now. It's about, what time is it? 4:30?
That's it, Lindsay. Come up and the lads will fetch those up.
Well, Paul was celebrating success, and we were just congratulating ourselves on having found the new discoveries when we heard Andrew's excited voice from below us.
You missed the best part.
What have we missed then?
Right, Andrew.
The part, Colin, come here, pal. The bit you've missed is about 20 times bigger than that side over there.
Is it?
And there's a massive big flowstone waterfall. Goes about, must be about 100 foot there. And it's dead clean, no glitters. There's huge, great big thick stalactites and so on. It goes on and on, does it? It carries on.
It's pretty than what we've seen, is it?
Oh yeah, and it's huge, it's about...
Bigger and bigger.
It's huge, it's nice as...
Where's Colin? You can have a seat, Colin, can you?
Is it?
He's ours. He's there. He's there.
Go on, speak, Colin.
It's the best part, it's best part.
He's still in the shadow.
It's got to be the best part of this cave.
You look pretty hot, Andrew, is it?
We're not pulling your todgers, it's really...
It's real genuine stuff.
I'm sweating, I've sweated all day.
Yeah. True excitement.
Yeah.
Very unusual for us caving group.
Tastes good.
We shall return then, eh?
After seeing
Yeah.
you through, it's a
Sorry?
school.
We'll return.
We ought to, we perhaps ought to come one night when it's cool.
I'd love the chance to come back, if only to see the bats.
That's it.
Where are we going?
Oh, hang on a minute.
Bacchus.
Well, it was certainly our intention to return, but there were other caves on our list, and Cornavacus was next in line. We need all the help we could get to find this one. It's somewhere up there on the slopes of a 2,000-foot peak near Palenza. According to our instructions, we should be following one of several dry stream beds, called torrents in Majorca. But this was definitely not a dry stream bed. Amazon jungle, maybe.
Swing over to your left. All right, Andrew.
Trouble with packer, you, Chris.
But persistence paid off, and somehow we finished up in a dry stream bed.
With a compass, really.
Our chosen route took us up steep gullies and through masses of carex grass, lush and green from a distance, but sharp as knives close to.
Chris is having a look.
Well, this little pool will soon dry up in this heat.
That's right, Colin and Dave Bontra have decided to go up the hillside at this point, over a rutty great big ridge, and hope to find a cave. So we decided to stick to the torrent route.
I saw a little crab in that pool.
Hey! Maybe it's not far enough up, I don't know. Well, we're still searching for this blasted cave. I'm not... So we're just still searching for this cave, giving a bit of a commentary. I haven't found a damn thing yet. Colin found a cave, but he didn't go anywhere. Sad.
Oh, sad indeed, but at least we were rewarded with a magnificent view of Cap Foreman Tor.
Rescue, is it?
And we'd found a cooling breeze and shelter from the sun for a well-earned break and a picnic. We haven't found the cave, I'm sorry to say. We think it might be over there somewhere, but it's a bit complicated. We may have taken the wrong track to start with. Following the map's been a bit hopeless. I mean, it's been very vague as to where we should actually find this cave. But we've had a nice picnic and some lovely views, and it's been a very nice walk up here.
Picnic.
No, we haven't had a picnic either.
No, because we've been looking for the
been
cave.
Oh, I've had a very nice picnic. I'm sure Paul's
The
had a
rest
very
is
nice.
not to
I've
conquer.
been here tomorrow, I've been stood up.
And we're going to make our way down now to the cars, and we're going to make the girls go for a swim, possibly on the beach at Cala
I'll see if
San
we can
Vicente.
find the beach.
Hasn't been a wasted day. It's been a very pleasant walk up here in the midday sun. And a pleasant walk back down now. Well, it had been a frustrating day. The sight of a 1,000-year-old olive tree helped to put things into perspective, and the previous day's fiasco was soon forgotten. Colin and Andrew had convinced us that what they had seen deserved a wider audience, and Dave was going on about wanting to see more of the bat colony. But some were less keen than others to climb that hill again.
Somebody always has to be last, don't they?
So Consign was set to receive another visit. Well, we've come in search of bats and we seem to have found them. Strange clicking sounds are being made by bats navigating in the dark. We can only hear them because of a special device that converts ultrasonic sound waves to a range detectable to the human ear. They skillfully negotiate the ghostly shapes that we can barely make out.
This is the bat detector. Simple on-off switch, volume, and then a scale from 20,000 to 120,000 kilohertz. The different bats peak at different frequencies. Recording these between 60 and 80 kilohertz.
By comparison, the human ear can detect few sounds above 12 kilohertz, 5 times lower than those made by the bat. In this diagram, the purple bands represent the high-pitched sounds emitted from the bat's mouth, and the curved lines reflect sounds picked up by the special sensory organs in his ears. Exactly the principle on which modern radar detection was founded. A few of the bats still to be found in the UK are illustrated here. The pipistrelle, the Natterer's bat, Lord Benton's bat, the whiskered bat, long-eared bat, and the cuddly but singularly ugly greater horseshoe bat. There are far more than these here in Majorca. Our main purpose today is to see the main colony, and we're already having more luck than before. Listen carefully and you can hear the other sound that bats make. It's a high-pitched squeaking sound. Well, you probably recognise him from the other day. He's still not well and seems to be complaining of being woken up. Well, we've got to continue our search for the main colony and have moved further into the cave. The squeaking seems to be getting louder. Suddenly they come at us like a swarm of bees. It's a strange feeling to be among so many as they swoop and swerve around our heads, sometimes missing us by only inches. Dave can't believe his luck, and to someone who spent the best part of his life caring for and studying bats, standing in the midst of such a huge colony must have been an unforgettable experience. Time to move on, and Andrew leads Dave, Chris, Colin and myself down to where he and Colin had made their exciting discovery 2 days ago, just as we were ready to leave the cave. Andrew's very much at ease scrambling about underground. Some of us had a bit of a job keeping up with him. Very soon the nature of our surroundings began to change, and we quickly realised we were entering a special place. Not wishing to mark or damage our fragile surroundings, we cleaned off all traces of mud and removed all unnecessary kit. We were now nearly 200 feet below the entrance. The crystalline deposits on the walls and floor sparkled, and our lights cast eerie shadows around us. In places, the floor is entirely covered with delicate crystals, formed over thousands of years as the water slowly evaporated. Each tiny crystal is made up of hundreds of smaller ones. These were once gower pools, but the water has long since disappeared, leaving the thin retaining walls high and dry. Crystals are many shapes. The banks of this pool are made up of crystals like cornflakes. Reaching from the floor to the roof 10 feet above, this unusual column appears to have balconies around it. In contrast to these sturdy columns are these delicate twisting shapes, no thicker than a baby's finger. The roof is covered in them. In defiance of gravity, some even shoot out at right angles. These hanging straws, aptly named spaghettis by cave guides, have taken 1,000 years to grow a metre in length. Others are smaller, but still growing by the action of the calcium-rich droplets. Because evaporation is greater in a warm cave like this, about 1 millimetre is added each year. These translucent draperies are stained by the action of minerals dissolved in the percolating water. But the real jewel in the crown of Cancion is this beautiful frozen cascade. You see the back of me here, what is probably one of the most spectacular banks of flowstone that I've ever seen. It extends probably fully 80 feet above me. It's a strange place, this. It's a delightful place to be in, but at the same time you almost feel as if you don't belong here. I mean, if you put a foot wrong, you're going to damage the work of thousands and thousands of years. So we have to tread very carefully. It leaves you feeling a little bit uneasy. And I suppose in some ways I should be glad to get out so that we don't do any more damage. There's already a fair amount of damage being done by other people here before. It's almost impossible not to actually destroy something. So we're going to tread very carefully and make our way out, but hopefully we've got some good shots for you to have a look at. This colourful and fragile world has been created in complete darkness, but sadly on our way back to daylight we came across evidence of the start of its destruction by careless or thoughtless visitors.
Here you have a stalagmites in the roof, and these should have been in the roof. Somebody knocked them off. And one here. You can actually see.
Massive vandalism.
If you look down the middle, you can see where the water flows through. See?
In a hole. Yeah.
It drips all the way down and carries on growing.
Can I see that hole again?
Hole.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Which when it's up, it drips through the middle. It gradually grows bigger and bigger until it gets snapped off. And when this one was growing, the pressure of water sent it out at right angles. So it actually would be going up like that.
Right.
It would be growing that way, outwards. Looks like it started to grow up again as well.
Cancion had fully justified a second look, and we can only hope that the treasure that we had enjoyed will remain for future generations to enjoy as well. Caves like Cancion are perhaps the last true wilderness on Earth.